Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship from here at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. Continuing coverage. We've been here since Wednesday. We are now on Sunday. Just 3 players remain in this event. This event brought to you by the American Pool Players Association. Our streaming coverage presented by our friends at PoolDog.com. I'm your host, Jason Bowman, joined by 2010 U.S. Amateur Champion Raymond Linares. Raymond, 3 players left, man.
Yeah.
You kind of know the pressure of this situation. You've been there, and it's we're going to see the players that have now each absorbed 1 loss. So the winner of this match is going to move on to play Blake in the finals. The loser is going to finish in 3rd place.
Yeah, and our defending champions on the 1-loss side, he'll be playing for his tournament life. I think he's
Abrin
playing
Schaad, yep, playing Bobby Stovall.
And Bobby's on the 1-loss side because Abrin beat him.
That's right,
earlier,
yeah.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see if that anything changes there. I think Abe beat him 7-0 early on. So
Right.
definitely an advantage. Real contrast in styles. You've got Abe as a very quick player.
Yeah.
Bobby a very deliberate, if you will, player.
And Bobby just played 2 strong matches. He won the match before. His last match he won convincingly. And then he just beat a really good player in Christian Teal to advance to the semifinals. So I think he wants his revenge.
Could go either way here. Let's take a quick look at the tournament format. Race to 7, combination 8-ball and 9-ball, 5 games of 8-ball, 8 games of 9-ball, double elimination. Of course, as we mentioned, each of these players has now absorbed their first loss. So this is it. We're down to it. Next loss, they'll be out. The winner will move on to face Blake in the finals. The winner of the lag is going to take either the break or choose the 8-ball or 9-ball format. And as the players prepare, we're going to hear a quick word from our friends at PoolDog.com.
Tired of the same old when you're buying billiard supplies? Come shop with the big dogs at PoolDog.com. You want pool cues?
Abe with
We've
the
got
break.
over 700 balls,
Blake Baker.
cases,
Baker.
accessories.
Forgetting the last
no
name.
problem. Want help with your game?
Want to say Blake
How
Breaker.
does hundreds of free training articles sound? Want to shop offline? We'll
Great
mail
Breaking
you
Baker.
a free catalog. Hit us up online.
Breaker, Breaker.
PoolDog.com.
Blake
One-liner.
Baker.
866
Breaker, Blake Baker.
It's a breaker 1-9er. If he wins the tournament, it's 2019.
There we go.
All
right, we're back. Looks like Abe Schaad is going to have the break here. They're going to start in the 9-ball set. So I'm assuming Abe won the lag because he generally does not give up the break.
And
Bobby seems to excel in 9-ball from what I've
Yeah.
seen. So
He called 9-ball. I think he did the same thing earlier in 2 rounds ago and watched him play and dominated the 9-ball actually in that match.
So what's interesting here, Raymond, is I think we have now seen for the first time in 2 years Abe Schaad lose his first match here at the amateur. I don't
Sure.
believe. I think he went undefeated last year.
Well, it's always good to break the ice, you know?
Yeah. So we'll see how he responds. But as you mentioned earlier, he did beat Bobby a couple rounds back,
Right.
7-0. So we'll see.
I'm kind of
We'll see what
interested to
happens.
see how Abrin handles that scenario mentally. Losing a match and then having to kind of like, okay, put that aside and then refocus. Sometimes that can be really hard.
Absolutely.
Especially if you really, I mean, they all really want to get to the finals, right?
Sure.
But sometimes that can get to the point where it's it can be counterproductive. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that it will be for Abrin, but I'm interested to see.
We just haven't seen how he
copes.
responds, to the adversity
exactly.
yet.
And that'll tell us a little bit more about him as a player. He's obviously comfortable with winning, so let's see how he handles a little bit of adversity. And then it'll be interesting too to see if Bobby can put some heat on him because he couldn't put heat on him. You said that Abe had beaten him 7-0.
Yeah, a couple rounds back.
So I think Bobby will be keen to try and get his hooks in, and I would probably say that both players are probably more comfortable playing 9-ball. So it's gonna be a gunfight. See what happens.
Bobby working on that 9-ball rack.
And none of the players have been opting to use a template rack, right? Mostly all wooden racks.
Yeah, I've not seen, other than early on in the women's division.
Sure.
I have not seen anybody use the template rack. So.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, I remember playing this format and just knowing that I was going to get a ton of bad racks, and I would, instead of playing your typical, breaking from the rail, right, 9-ball thing, I'd break a lot from the middle of the table, trying to break around and break through the bad racks. You know what I mean? And I would only ask them to re-rack the balls if it was just really bad, you know? But sometimes, you know, you just kind of have to pick and choose when that's going to be. And if you see that you can work through the rack, you know, breaking in a certain way, then you know, you go for that. But
semifinal match here at the U.S. Amateur Championship. Bobby Stovall at the table.
yeah.
Winner of this match, again, is going to play Blake Baker, who has kind of come out of nowhere to, you know, make his way to the finals, just waiting on an opponent now.
And Bobby getting an opportunity straight away, which is what he wanted. You know what I mean? He accepted the risk of giving Abrin the break and playing 9-ball, hoping that he would get a chance to play safe, take control, maybe have Abrin break dry, that kind of thing. So
Abrin, 27 years old, Peoria, Illinois. Bobby Stovall, 65 years old, out of Cumming, Georgia. So big contrast in ages, contrast in style of play.
Do you think Bobby plays Fortnite at all?
I don't know if Bobby's ever heard of Fortnite. In fact, on the way here, I looked up the Fortnite Black Hole. True story, right? They had that Black Hole event or whatever it was called.
Right.
I learned a little bit about that. So
you never know. Bobby could be the best grandpa on the planet and be playing Fortnite every night.
I won't rule it out.
He could be like a level 84 warlock in, you know, World of Warcraft or something.
So,
Yeah.
Raymond, it sounds like you might know what you're talking about, brother.
I've only read a book once or twice.
I'm sure.
No, I don't really game, but I have some friends that do.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Raymond, but pool is a game. So you are, in fact, a gamer.
That's a loaded question statement, sir. You might anger some people in the comments.
I'm gonna mute my mic again. That's where I'm gonna be.
This is not the final. This is actually the semifinal here. We had a question on that. We've got one more match to go after this. That will be your final. That'll be an extended race, as a matter of fact.
13, right?
Is it? Yeah, it is 13, right?
No, 11.
11.
11. 13 games of 8-ball.
That's right.
Abrin extracts the first ball in hand from Bobby. Played a simple safe up the table and then left him in kind of a weird spot where he needed to kind of shorten it up a little bit, kicking above the 6, and the ball just lengthened out a hair, and he missed contact on the 1. And it's not true double elimination, so it's a one race final.
Yeah.
Race.
8 games of 8-ball, 13 games of 9-ball, race to 11.
Right.
So the championship match.
Which means if you can theoretically run the set out playing 9-ball, but you got to really want it.
I don't know that I've ever seen that happen, but
no, it's never happened, I don't think.
I have seen players dominate in 9-ball, though, and you come out of that with like a...
Yeah, the year that I won, my first 3 rounds were 7-0, 7-1, 7-3.
Yeah.
And I was kind of upset that I had to play 8-ball in my 3rd round. I was kind of, because I wanted to beat him again, you know, but... Yeah, you got to, like, in competition, you likely set these little goals for yourself. I want to hold my opponent to 2 games after the 9-ball, and then, you know, try and win the first game in 8-ball. And, you know, you try and, like, create these small goals for yourself that you can get to impose and keep yourself focused. But Abrin looks like he has the first opening. He's going to probably draw the cue ball to the side cushion and back out. It's got a nice angle again, but he'll be bridging over the 8, so it might affect him a little bit, but it looks like he's pretty comfortable. And lost a close match with Blake. Right?
Yep, Blake Baker.
And
he got down early quite a bit, but
exactly,
he mounted a comeback, just couldn't quite get it. I think he got it back to 6-5 and then ultimately lost 7-5.
Blake had a chance to actually beat him 7-1 and didn't execute. And then, you know, I had mentioned it to Jeremy, like, hey, this is kind of, you have an opening here to just close the match, beat him, the match is over, right? Like, but then, you know, the match started getting tight, and he was 1 or 2 shots away from maybe stealing the match back, you know, so, but.
Oh, tough miss there for Abe. Very uncharacteristic.
Abe very close to just raking the ball.
Yeah, he was smart, though, not to. He wants to make Bobby shoot this shot. He was very close to conceding that game, though, and he thought the better of it. And maybe that's maybe a more mature Abe, I'm thinking right there, because last year, I think he just concedes that game.
Yeah, last year 100% scoops that up.
If I'm Bobby, I'd probably take my break now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Good to see that Abe didn't just concede there, though.
Yeah.
Make him shoot this. Even if it's a shot that he makes, no big deal. But you see a little maturity there from Abe, which is good. It's a good sign.
You can tell he's fighting the emotion, though, right? Like, he's, like, very, obviously upset that he missed that ball. But you got to just, like, let that stuff go. Probably it's a little bit of a mixture of maybe thoughts about the last match lingering, and then, you want to kind of get back and give yourself a chance to win in the final. And you got to really manage those feelings. I'm not sure what he's thinking right now, but, those are things that they can creep up, especially if, let's say, Bobby breaks and runs, and then in the next inning he misses a ball he shouldn't miss. Now the demons really start talking to you, right?
Right.
So you got to, this is the kind of stuff I'm interested to see, to learn more about Abrin and kind of like how he deals with certain things, right? So Bobby, obviously a veteran, has been playing. You say he took like a 12 or 15-year break?
Yeah, he put on his bio. He's 65 years old. He's been playing since he was a teenager. But he says he took about 20 years off as he had a daughter like you, Raymond, and
I'll take 2 decades
off. Yeah.
Oh Lord, wow.
And I don't know. That may just mean from what he deems serious competition. Hard to say. I'm sure he still picked up a cue here and there. Hard to just totally.
But that's one of the things I just love about the game, is that it gives you. I mean, this guy's 65 years old, and he's in the semifinals of a national tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's competing with somebody who's 3 decades younger than him.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, where else do you see
There's no other
that,
sport. I mean, I guess maybe golf.
Checkers.
Checkers. Yeah. Shuffleboard.
Competitive shuffleboard. Fortnite, maybe. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome, that you can still kind of be sharp and compete and have a chance to win. Again, I bring up Henry Brodt. I didn't know who Henry was the first time I played him, and I was up in the match against him, and then had a shot where I hung a ball or didn't get out, and he made a big comeback, made it like 6-5, kind of like. And I was like, oh man, this guy, and I ended up winning him. I was like, man, this guy plays pretty good. And then the next year he won the tournament, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just here thinking he's some old guy.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm an old guy, all right.
King Henry.
He's an old guy with a couple of trophies.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 now, doesn't he have 3?
He did, yeah.
God bless him.
He had the biggest gap. He won in like 98, 99, and then not again until 2014 or somewhere in there. So
apparently that's what brought Brian out of retirement to come back.
Yeah, really? He actually tied Brian, I guess, at the time with 3.
Yeah.
And Brian thought, well.
Nope, now I got to go win some more.
Yep.
I mean, he could have taken 20 years off and made it fair. Give us apples to apples, Okay, that was a bad kick, and ball in hand now for Bobby. So, again, now this is the second error, right? So I'm kind of interested in seeing just the emotional state management. I told Jeremy in the last rack that I had been some of the people that I learned the game from very old school, right? So there's a guy, John DeToro. I'm not sure if you know of him, but he, Florida legend, and actually played in a Moscone Cup in the 90s, the first one we lost. So
oh, wow.
Thanks, Johnny. There was like a strike with some of the players or something, and so they put like whatever. It was kind of like a thing.
Interesting.
But like he's gambled and beaten all the top players, and very knowledgeable guy. But we used to play $5 a set, race to 10, or no, $10 sets, race to 5, and it was mum pool. So if you can't speak at all during the race, and if you make a sound, literally a sound like a or a dang it or anything, it costs you $5.
Wow,
and
that's kind of interesting.
And you pay up on the spot. So like it extra hurts, Does
that money go to your opponent, or is it?
It goes to your opponent. Yeah, absolutely.
Huh.
So if you make a spot, now if you get a phone call, you're like, hey, can I get a,
sure.
But it taught me a lot to really compartmentalize the emotional side and not.
That's a good strategy. Yeah.
Not show any emotion. It's kind of like Mr. Miyagi style training. You
right.
know? You're sanding the floor. You don't know that you know karate, right?
Paint the fence.
Right. So,
wax on, wax off.
I think Bobby knows how to sand the floor and paint the fence. And
well, now I have to have a Karate Kid marathon. Thanks for that, Raymond.
No problem. If you ever want to get motivated about life, just listen to You're the Best Around.
Nothing's ever gonna keep you down. You're the best. I got there.
Also, there was a funny story about the Eye of the Tiger, the year that I won the U.S. Amateurs. I think it was that year. It was close to when Donnie had played Shane in a big race to 100 here locally, and they played Eye of the Tiger like 15 times in a row, and it was a thing. And we were talking about it, and then the second day of the tournament, somebody played Eye of the Tiger like freaking 4 or 5 times in a row, and I knew somebody was trolling me, and I'm like, what's going on? And then thankfully it didn't shark me. I was playing Daniel Gamble.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah,
That's a
Daniel's
tough
and
matchup to
and
be
I'm like,
sharked in.
what the heck? It cost me a game. I was like, sucks. But
Frazier said, "Sweep the leg, Johnny.
sweep the leg, Johnny.
Sweep the leg."
So I ended up beating him 7-5. But it was just like, I was like, man, I had to like fade the music because it happened like after the third time. I was just like, I'm getting trolled so hard right now. But that's what friends were for.
Yeah, at least it was a friend doing that.
It was
too,
totally
yeah.
a friend, and I'm sure if they're listening, they'll laugh about it and send me a message.
John Brown says, no mercy. And then Hooter Clark says, don't sing anymore.
Then we're singing.
Okay.
All right.
No,
Which-
fair
Good
enough. Fair enough. Whoever was singing back there.
Wasn't us.
I think the other interesting thing here, this particular matchup, so the last time these guys played, Abe kind of controlled
Everything.
the
right?
match, the pace, the timing.
Sure.
And for a player that plays fast,
Yeah.
Bobby now controlling the table, really kind of getting Abe out of his rhythm, if you will.
And that's an interesting point because it really is about matchups. And these two styles really pair best against each other, right? And it's just a matter of who gets their hooks in first. And I remember, like, when I used to play real fast. And then for a long time, I just clamped down and started becoming real methodical. And I liked playing the faster, looser players because I knew that if I got control, it would disadvantageously affect them more than it would affect me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they're eager to jump up and get out and let their stroke out. And after a couple games of not being able to, then maybe they overextend themselves and go for a shot that they're trying to get back in rhythm.
Right.
And they're basically spinning their tires. They can't get going. Right. So it's interesting to see this match kind of start off in the opposite direction where Bobby's kind of controlling and setting the tempo at the beginning.
Yeah.
But still, it's early days, right? It's, 2-0 now, or is it 3?
2-0, race to
2-0.
7, yeah. Bobby, of course, still has the break. So
Sure.
Abe not wanting to fall further behind if he can avoid it. Obviously, Bobby with the break here, 9-ball, can control some things. But
Yeah, and it seems like the table's breaking pretty good. Looks like they're not really having too many problems with the rack, which is nice.
after this match, we'll take just a few minutes and then go right into the final. So the final,
That's
I know,
great.
was originally scheduled 7 p.m., but it looks like that'll get underway early today here at Strokers in Palm Harbor. That kind of depends on how long this match plays out, too, but
Got
I
some
have a hard
photos
time
to
believing
take.
it would go 3 hours. Abe Schaad now at the table.
Awesome.
Nice shot.
I'm not sure he wanted to play it off the 6, but he did have the big pocket. But now he's got to adjust his plan, maybe play a bank on the 3 because the 6 took up. The 6 took up the pocket for the 3, but also he got straight on the 2. So he might just roll it forward a little bit and play a bank in the side, and maybe if he can play play the bank where he can either draw it or follow it and come to the middle to get the 4 if he wants to try and run out. But then transitioning from the 4 to the 5, you got to go 2 rails forward, and it just kind of depends on how he lands. So let's see what he tries here. He just floats it forward, which is, I think, indicative that he's going to play the bank. And he can either stiff it and draw back or pinch it with a little high right and go forward. It just depends on how it's lying, exactly what he's feeling, if he's going to go ahead and swing at it.
I will say that it does seem, comparatively to last year, Abrin does seem a lot more relaxed and chill because he was all over the table,
Nice
up
shot.
and down, bouncing around, and
Right.
even to a point where some of the people who weren't familiar with this player
Sure.
were commenting, is this young man sharking the opponent? And
Right.
then of course the chatters know this is how he plays, but he seems like he's
Kind of
taking it down a
yeah.
notch a little bit.
Hurricane Abe got downgraded a little bit.
Tropical storm Abe
Yeah,
at
his
this
winds,
point.
his winds are a little less.
Which could be a good thing.
That's all right. Yeah, he's a little more calm, a little more composed.
So it looks like the 5 passes the 6. It's one of those where you see the 6 in the line of the sight down there, but you just gotta focus on getting the 5 past it, because it can maybe peek in and you grab the edge and you miss. You might just shave it a little bit, but I think just a smooth stroke might get him in there. Yeah, good shot. And stop shot will do. He'll have an angle going up table. He's measuring it up now. Really wants to, secure this rack and get, mitigate the
Definitely.
the deficit a little bit and get a chance to break and tie up the match. Looks like Abe's playing with a Predator or Revo. Okay, 2 cushions. Wants to get off the side rail there. That's good.
It's a good eye there, Raymond. Predator P3Q, Predator Revo 12.4.
Yeah. Oh, drew it back. Kind of a similar angle, more full than the one he missed, but again, cutting it to the left near the cushion. He's got a little room to bridge, so. But, missed it to the bottom side as well. I'm sure he was thinking about it.
Yeah. But he overcame it, yeah. Sometimes that's tough. We saw that in the women's.
Sure.
I don't remember the young lady's name, but
We
just
felt
kind of had the
terrible.
same shot over and over, and it started to become a mental thing. So it's good to see Abe is not hung up on that 9 in the
She
lower
missed.
corner. He now is
Try and
on the board.
Try and snuff that out right away
Yep.
so it's not sharking you.
And he will have the break here. Again, this is a race to 7. Bobby Stovall prepares the rack. Bobby from Cumming, Georgia. I believe that's pretty close to Atlanta. We mentioned our friends at Pool Dog who are providing this great coverage to you folks at home tuning in. They've got a piece of equipment that they are making available to those of you that are interested in trying out a low deflection shaft. They've got a new Summit Pro shaft. It's available for $134. So if you've been thinking about upgrading your equipment or trying out the low deflection shaft, I encourage you to give that one a try. It comes with a 60-day guarantee as well, so you can find that on pooldog.com. Also want to mention our other sponsors, Action Q's, Valley Dynamo, Tables, Aramith, our friends at Nationwide Insurance. Takes a lot of partners to make some of these things that we do happen, and appreciate all their support.
# free stream.
And can I just say, too, you guys do a really good job of running the organizational side of the tournament. And that's like consistent, I think, across pretty much any tournament format.
Have you ever been to one of our Vegas events?
I've been to Team Nationals.
Okay, so you've seen the big show. It's a lot different than this environment for sure. But.
And that was what I was getting to is you guys have 500 to 1,000 matches going on all the time, and they're all scheduled, all on paper. There's no confusion about when my match was. You never hear people like, "Oh, I was forfeited because I didn't know what time." Like you get your text message, you get you have CompuSport, you know what your table assignment. There's never an issue, and you're dealing with probably the biggest logistical hurdle in pool on the planet, and you guys pull it off every year. So it's a lot of, it's really great to see, and I think a lot of people who don't compete don't really get to see that play out and how awesome it is. So
yeah, it's definitely a contrast between what we do here at Strokers in Palm Harbor for the USAM and our World Championships, just in certain terms of size, scope, the facility. But I like it because it kind of gets us back to our back to our roots. Like this is kind of the core of where it all starts, right? And so it's good to be able to come in here, and Jose is great about really letting us kind of take over Strokers for a few days. I mean, that's a big deal to come into a place and just kind of take over for 5 days.
And it's cool to come in and see all the banners on the roof and stuff of all the different years they've hosted. And
it's been a great home for the USAM for sure.
Jose had a pretty good tournament too, didn't he? Didn't he finish?
I didn't see how he finished, but he was undefeated going into that 3 o'clock round yesterday that we watched on the stream.
And pretty solid player.
He's pretty good.
I mean, it's hard to run a pool room and play good. You know what I mean? Like people think, oh, why don't you just own a pool room?
Play pool all day.
You're busy running
it doesn't
the business,
happen
not
that way.
playing
really
pool.
hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
I think Mike Lee, is that how you pronounce it?
Uh-huh.
The runner-up from
Canadian
last year,
guy.
I think, was the one that booted Jose out.
Yeah.
I think it was 7-6. I think it went hill.
Yeah,
on
that was
stream,
his first.
wasn't it?
That was his first loss.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure
Okay.
ultimately how it ended for Jose, but
it
ended at some point.
Running a pool room is not easy. There's a lot of things you got to manage: staff and food and equipment and customer
So support your
service
local pool room.
Absolutely,
You want them to stay around. Go spend money in them. That's how you keep them around.
Strokers is kind of like you could kind of just come here and have dinner. Like on
the
on
food's
a
great.
weeknight, you just get some. Oh, I want some.
Well, and
shrimps,
there's I don't know how many TVs here, but they get
ton.
A lot.
Sunday ticket. You watch any game that's on sports wise.
Pretty rowdy when the Bucks are doing good. Of course, they have the Dolphins playing, and that's embarrassing. But
That's a whole nother conversation.
Right, so
I'm a
safety
Dolphins
there
fan,
yeah, it's been a tough year for you.
we finally
Probably have the number 1 pick though, so you can
we
start
beat the
thinking about
Jets,
that, right?
so that basically the purpose for our season has been achieved. So if we could just go ahead and lose every other game, that'd be great.
Abe shooting here.
This is itchy. This is iffy. I don't. Can he make?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think he could make that ball, but he kind of got safe.
Yeah, he's looking at it, but
It's a little weird.
See if I can't zoom in here. See what's
Can
going
you
on.
can you zoomify and extrapolate there?
I get that reference actually.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this is kind of tough. Yeah, I didn't think he could hit enough. I mean, he could definitely go rail first and make the ball. That's a great camera shot there. Who's running this show? That's really great. I think he can just go ahead and pinch it in there. Then I don't think he'll have position. He's got to play speed to get out of there. He can't just like lag it, and because he'll hide behind the 4. Yeah, got to go up. There you go. So that's a good shot. Maybe just bumped in there behind the 4 and try and get safe and then come out winner on this exchange. So there's 2 ways you can do this. Either just like a center ball and go 1 rail to the 4 behind it and freeze, or hit it fuller with a little English, you know what I mean, and try and slide deep and come bring the 2 out a little bit to here, and then bring the cue ball in tight, behind the 4, maybe. But probably just, the 1 rail maybe. It's touchy.
So is Bobby here at the table and Abram battle it out. Blake
Dragon.
Baker patiently waits.
Oh, yeah, see, that was interesting that he went kind of that. He tried to kill it, but hit it firm. It was kind of weird. He got away with it, I think. I don't think he's got it. Yeah, I think he's left him diagonal. Can he maybe see the edge?
I'm going to give you every angle I have.
Thanks, man. Can you do the VR thing where we kind of dive in?
That'll be next year. We try to add one cool thing every year. VR is on the list.
The 360 cam.
There's actually a world where that happens, but I'll save that conversation for another day.
No problem. Okay, Abe looks like I think he went rail first there even. Or maybe just a hair ball first. Okay. So I think for Bobby, the more time he spends at the table and kind of goes through his routine, the more steam he kind of steals a little bit away from Abe. Abe's got to reset down and try and get a whole new fresh batch of his rhythm, right?
Yep.
He might just split the balls here and play safe, bank them opposite side cushions. And that's a standard shot.
He didn't waste any time, did he?
But I think he left him almost the whole ball. So Abe might rear back and fire this if he can see enough of the ball. You can see he's lining up. Yeah. I'm not sure he's going to like this. I think the 2 passes, and Bobby's got a shot. It's a little tight. It's one of those, again, the ball's in your line of sight. It might peek up. So you just got to stay clean and stay down and not come up on your shot. Just play a nice, smooth stop shot, smooth it in.
We're not exciting enough for you? Is that what you're saying? I'm Schaad.
All right, Bobby. Nice shot. That's a good shot.
Absolutely. It's
long, straight-in shots, easy to get. Miss-hit it a little bit, catch the 3 going in, and you let the pressure off of Abe, So, but.
So I know Bobby definitely, we've already seen him plays at a slower speed,
Sure.
but having played Abe, right, and knowing that he plays very quickly, do you think that Bobby slows it down even a little bit more just to...
I think Bobby's just going to really pay attention to the details of his game.
Stays in his own rhythm.
And not give away anything to Abe, right? He's not going to rush anything, and he's not going to take anything for granted, knowing that Abe is already capable of beating him.
Right.
So Bobby's just going to really put his hooks in and bear down, right? So, and if that means that his style of play is more methodical, then that's what we're going to see from him. And the only way that's going to change is if Abe gets control somehow. But right now, Bobby's looking really good. I mean, he just beat Chris Gentile last match, and Chris is a real good player, and Bobby put a whooping on the guy before him, and I think he's looks good, feels good, executing shots, well, and he's really controlling things. So
Pockets at 8 in the corner. Looks to be in good shape to go up 3-1 here.
And I think you just see he's really zoned in right now. He's really focusing hard and trying to get that that lead and extend it. And another point, I mean, just the way he's pocketing the 9, he's sending a message with that. Really he's not rolling the 9 in
right.
at all. He's hitting it with authority and letting his opponent know I'm here and I'm in control. And there's little subtle things that happen in your mind when you start thinking about that stuff. But
so we're about halfway through, or not about, but we are halfway through the 9-ball set, 8 games of 9-ball.
Right. And to the point of the match, Bobby's goal is going to be to get out of the 9-ball with the advantage, right? So he's up 3-1 now. If he wins another rack, then he's guaranteed. If he wins another rack, he's guaranteed to at least tie in the 9-ball, and 2 racks means he wins the exchange on the 9-ball, and that's big because it gives you some padding. But we have Jeremy Jones coming back in the booth now.
Yeah, and I think Abe's going to go offensive here on the cross side bank. And it looks like a perfect one that you can just kind of play kind of on the end rail with the cue ball with a little draw. Like you can leave him kind of tough if you miss. Yeah, well, he just went aggressive. And there's a good commitment to the shot there, too. So probably going to play the 3 up long. And the good thing is don't get extreme either way. Don't get extreme angle, I'm saying. You can actually handle being straight in on the 3. I would have rather been straight on the 3 and roll past the 7 for the cut on the 4 than have this steep shot on the 3.
And now you're contending with the 6 and the 5.
Exactly. You have to play at a certain speed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where if you get a little bit of an angle, say an inch off, right, you just punch out very comfortably to that gap,
Yeah. And those are details, right?
Just assessing that, hey, what's the real danger,
And this is that.
Exactly, it's that. And he hit it great, though.
Yeah.
But he had to come with a shot, though.
And drew his cue ball to make sure he has bigger margin of error,
Yeah, and actually the draw actually slows the cue ball down, believe
Sure.
it or not. That's one of the things people don't realize, that the draw, a lot of times they do it without realizing they're slowing it down,
Sure.
Just natural instinct. But sometimes it kind of gets them where they think, all right, the ball should release a little bit, but they hit a little draw stroke and it kind of stalled the ball. But
that was the winning shot, yeah. Yep. Abe handling business.
Yeah, and this 8 lays a little funny, so you might just stop and roll it in the other corner.
Right.
I mean, it lays a little on the bottom, so I don't think you're going to catch the point funny and come into the top of the 9 or anything, but nothing wrong with just laying this up and rolling it the other way, I think.
Sure.
And that's just eliminate any kind of risk.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be worried about this one.
He's in danger of bringing the match to 3-2. So Abe will be breaking.
Yeah, no.
So in this match again, just like last match, I think Bobby won the lag and chose 9-ball and gave Abe the break.
Well, he definitely likes 9-ball better. We've seen that here several matches where he chose 9-ball and kind of showed us why. He played it great.
Yeah, that other match where he just changed, right? He was struggling in the 8-ball and then just.
Yeah, I think like I said, it looks like just the experience at it because it is an experience game.
Sure.
And, short side position a lot where you don't look at that very often playing rotation. It's very key when it comes to 8-ball because it really helps with limiting cue ball movement. So just little things. Saw that with a few other players that I kind of think it was that I talked about earlier. Started out probably in a pool room with a lot of good players, probably not seeing them play 8-ball a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe toyed with it a little bit at, early in their pool careers, but, not a ton.
Right.
Whereas Abe, being where he's from, that area, they have a lot of 8-ball tournaments, a lot of 8-ball leagues.
Bar table more.
Yeah, but they have like state championships, and they have it to where, some people think there's just not enough to league for them to play as far as competition. Now, the once a year is great out for the big championships and stuff.
Sure.
But as far as real competition in a singles atmosphere,
right,
not necessarily playing the team all the time. Well, they won't play as much. But those states that have all those state championships and a lot of city tournaments and stuff like that, you'll see them guys and girls become real good 8-ball players.
We only have one open. We have an amateur and an open 8-ball event that happens here in Florida at Zingali's in Tallahassee. That only happens once a year, and that's really the only non-league event that's 8-ball oriented in the state. So we don't have a lot of it either. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, the pros don't either.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh,
wow, that's a big miss.
Yeah.
That's a big miss.
He left it tough, I'll tell you that. I mean, he's going to make a decision here if he can float this in or if he's got to go back and forth.
He's
not so jacked up, really.
No, I think he can cue between the 5 and the 6.
Yeah, so.
And maybe just float it in and come, one rail.
I hate floating that ball right there. I'd rather try and go back in 3 rails.
Right.
Because I feel like, I play it to the, how do you say this? Just across the spot on the 3rd rail. Like if the speeds tell me don't push it all the way to where you got to get straight on the 5 and take the cut on the 5 a little bit. I don't have to get perfect off the 5 off 3 rails. And I don't want the ball to like pull on me a little bit. People call it a skid, but sometimes it just pulls a little bit with that light stroke.
Yeah, but I think he's got an avenue where he might be able to just hit it center ball and be able to decide, what's going to work. I'm not sure exactly. We'll see
I think he's got the center of the cue ball and a full stroke.
So, then definitely just go ahead and chop it in.
I think so. You could float it, and, and again, don't float it so soft. Take the 2nd rail and maybe 10 inches off.
Absolutely.
You don't have to float it to straight in.
Yeah. Plus these.
Okay, caught it a hair heavy, but he's still playing and he's got safety options.
Sure.
All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
It's one of those that you just want to. If you get a clean cut, you just smooth it in, and it'll just glide right in, right? And then you can decide if you want to ramp up the speed based on the angle, or if you want to tone it down. If you have a little bit slightly more full, but definitely want to stay clean on the contact. The contact will let you keep that speed consistent. He caught it a little full.
Well, a lot of times, when I kind of teach people, don't try to make it happen. Meaning, like, you've already told yourself in your mind, it's almost like throwing a ball. Looking at your target, you got the information, you're going to deliver the information.
Right.
Same thing, and that's why it's so important to look, is because you're feeding your brain some mild information, which is going to give you that swing speed.
Sure.
And what happens is people say, well, I need to hit it, so they kind of put that make sure I hit it stroke, and they get a little quick, they get a little jabby, and they kind of lose the energy of the cue ball. Whereas if you just know you're going to deliver, it's almost like when people break, right? You'll see them like get real amped up. And I'll ask them, I'll say, you're about to break the balls, right? What a great shot. And they say, yeah. I said, well, how do you think you're going to hit them? They say, well, hard. I said, well, why are you worried about trying to hit them hard then?
Right.
You know what I mean? You're gonna hit them hard. If you need to draw the ball, you're gonna draw the ball. You're not just gonna stop it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better stroke. It happens a lot more consistent when you just apply the stroke more than trying to make sure something happens.
Right.
And a great out there.
That was a nice shot on the 5. Real delicate
floated
shot. Floated it in. Just beautiful.
And he jumped up a little after contact with the cue ball, so I didn't know if it was going to be any good.
This I don't like. So this tells me, like, the throw in the balls thing, I start knowing that the player's on the edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A little bit, just from coming either undone or raveling, where he might bring it back and win a couple games and get settled, or he might take a bad roll and just go off,
Well, and that's also something I notice if I'm Bobby.
Right.
If I have a choice, I don't really go too risky on.
Sure.
I want to make him earn it because he's flustered a little bit. So.
Yep, and that's just free information. It's kind of like in poker, you're just giving him a tell. You know what I mean, of where you're at, and information is powerful. Right?
Oh yeah.
You don't want to give away too much. And Bobby, again, even now, just that, taking his time before he gets down to the break.
Been very impressed with his 9-ball game, though. I mean,
Yeah,
very.
look, he got a nice little roll there with the
He
3.
got a shot, and that
Three
might frustrate Abe a little more.
Sure.
But I mean, Abe, I think he's probably played a lot of tournament pool. I mean, he's a young man, so nobody likes making mistakes, but especially the young guys.
Yeah.
Me, I'm almost 50. I kind of take it a little bit more,
Right.
I pack plenty of golf balls in my golf bag when I go to play.
Right.
All right, so a long shot on the 1, but he can cue it well, and he can just really kind of stop his ball. It's perfect for the 2 to the 4 with the 4 hanging.
He made a really nice stop shot, I think, 2 racks ago, where the opening shot was a long straight-in shot, and he kind of had a 3 that was a little bit obstructing, and he just cleaned it right in, just stopped the ball.
Well, like I said earlier, I kind of think he was he's a really good player, you can see, but I kind of think he was even better when he was younger. Just his bridge, his stroke.
Sure.
Some demeanor around the table.
Looks like a player. Right?
Yeah. His bridge, too, is really good, that closed bridge out on the table. You'll see it here shortly, I'm sure, but really solid.
So 1 rail to the middle here. It's kind of favor coming down a little bit closer to get that fuller angle to be able to come 1 rail for
but
the
it's
5.
Whatever I like on the 2, because it's so close to the hole, you can really manipulate with a little English.
Yeah, a little high right.
Yeah, a little right spin, if needed even, The key here is don't get too above the 8 or the 5 at all, really. Straight in or a little below it, and you're okay. Kind of stalled it a little bit, so now we're looking at a change of plans.
2-way shot where you bank the 5 and maybe pinch beneath. But then, you're downtown on the 6.
I don't want to leave myself there on the 6. And not only that, a lot of times, those kind of shots look good when you hit it well towards the hole, but when you miss it, maybe it leaks. And I like we just talked about a second ago, Abe off a miss last game. Probably don't play no in-between shot here. I mean, there's nothing wrong. If you want to go.
Sure.
But don't
you could probably bury him behind the 7.
Yeah, that one's a little risky, but it's very deadly. I like maybe cutting the 5 towards the 6 and using the 8-9. The 8-9's a pretty big ball.
Yeah, because you might double them up. The only thing I don't like about that is that it's easy to cross the line of the 8-9.
Yeah, but he's still got to come with some long shot, though, I think,
Abe shoots so good.
And if you wanted to bank the 5, right, before the side and go behind the 8-9, that's fine too.
Yeah,
Put the 5 further down in the middle of the table where the 8-9's really big. You know?
Exactly.
You come to the center of the end rail, something like that.
Yeah, that's solid. And it also kind of forces Abe, like how you said, forces him to kind of come with the shot.
Okay, he tried to drop him behind.
That's perfect. That's great.
Did pretty well, I think.
He's
got the jump, maybe.
Half ball jump, but he's got
I think he might be able to see the right side of this ball. And if he does, he should probably cross it over and run the cue ball.
I don't know. Let's see what he does here.
One good thing about that shot, though, there was distance. There was always going to be a lot of distance, and the premium on the hook on the snooker was, if you get him. It's really nice.
Yeah, if he was slightly hot, if he was a hair.
I think he wanted to move the 5 a little more is why. He didn't want it laid up over a side or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow,
you
what
can
a
see
shot.
the whole ball.
What
a
a
great
shot.
shot from Abe there. And a statement shot too, right?
Well, I know one that will motivate him.
Sure. And he's got a just straight draw all the way back. If he can stay on the inside of the 8 here.
And he doesn't want to fall all the way to the bottom.
Uh-oh.
Okay, he's okay.
Okay, good.
He's good. But if he got a little underneath that ball, like on the end rail, he may have to lay up for a combination on the 9.
Interesting.
Might have been real tough to get a decent shot on the 8 to that lower right corner, believe it or not. Now, he can come across no problem.
Sure. Good speed.
Yeah, he's really good at those types of shots. And that tells me he plays a lot of 8-ball or has. Okay, so
Drop pockets.
a mistake, you could say, but also didn't play the worst shot in the world, and Abe made one heck of a shot to get game number 7.
Sure. And when you're playing for that, you're playing the cue ball, right? For that, so you got to get him, right? You got to get him all the way behind. It looked like he might have got him, but he just had just enough space where Abe could come with a shot, and he made a heck of a shot.
He sure did.
So that's good.
You got to give it to him there.
It's such a good feeling when the guy leaves you a long, tough one and you just pound it in, get shape, and you run out. Really fires you up. Especially now if he can follow that up with a break and run. Now he's neutralized the 9-ball. Now they're moving into 8-ball, right?
Right.
And based on what we've seen from before, you would think Abe might have the advantage in the 8-ball.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're looking at a short race, so I think it's close.
Right.
But yeah, if you still have to give the edge to Abe for sure.
Plus a little bit maybe bigger break.
I don't recall Bob's break
Right.
on the 8-ball really.
Okay.
I think he broke. I don't know if in the Davids match he ever broke playing 8-ball. He was on the hill when they went to 8-ball, but I think David had won that last game, I think.
Right.
Don't recall.
So big rack here for Abrin.
And I think the same thing happened with Chris's match with Bob, that they started with the 9-ball. Bob got a huge lead, and then they went to 8-ball, and I think Chris got snookered that first game on the 8 when he almost kicked it in the side pocket.
That's right.
Because I was thinking, he could, he was down quite a bit, 6-2, I believe it was.
Right.
But, I thought, probably, 8-ball. I feel like, even though some would disagree that, you can't run as many racks. But it's one of those games where the balls could lay funny, where you could win 4 or 5 in a row to steal a match.
All right. So these balls are a little congested. Dry break, so there is no push.
Oh, yeah.
There is a push?
I thought there was.
No, there is no push out. Not for 9-ball.
Not for now. I think there is a push. They play where you can push.
Yeah. I get them mixed up sometimes with Masters and stuff, where you're not allowed to push.
Yeah, the league rules are a little different. They had an instance come up where a ball went off the table and it wasn't a foul, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Normally that's a foul.
Yeah.
In Texas Express or anything.
Very difficult to roll out, because you don't want to roll out offensive where he might run out on you. But you can't roll out because that big group there that he could easily snooker you with a ball. So this is where sometimes you roll out to the kick. I know it's not easy, but the 9's on the bottom rail. I might think about moving the 2 down there below it on a rollout of some sort, making things difficult. But I hate to give up a 2-9 early winner somehow.
Those are heartbreaking. I've done that.
Right, but I mean he's in a funny spot here. I mean, he's going to challenge him, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes you can just leave the guy long straight in and see what he does, and that's what I think what he's doing. Going to leave him on the end rail.
No, he might get this one back though. Might get this one back.
What do you like here?
Well, can he shoot and get past the 6-7 for a long 2-ball?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he can, but
I know it's not great, but that's why I say I don't know if I shoot this if I'm Abe. I mean, I understand I'm a big one on, looking to execute before my opponent executes on me.
Sure.
I'm big on that. But man, he's got to get way past these balls and then make one heck of a shot on the 2.
You're demanding quite a bit of yourself, right?
Oh, he's playing safe.
Too soft and played safe.
Wow, what a great hit that was. And you could see anything off there, and it's trouble.
Beautiful. That's a good way to kind of call your opponent's bluff a little bit. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, but that's an extreme tough shot from there. I mean, you got to depend on the table, which they've been great here.
Sure.
Haven't heard any complaints about the tables. But still, I mean, there's not much protection besides hitting it perfect.
Right.
And he did. So I like the 3 rails underneath this. You can slide off the 1 down the table by the 6 and the 5 and all that. You could
2 rails there.
Yeah, you never know what might happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So 3 rails, I think, maybe. I like come underneath.
Got it. So
you can knock the 1 between the 7-8 and the cue ball stay down there. A lot of good things.
So not 2 rails direct, but 3 rails behind.
3 rails underneath, yeah.
Got it.
And I like 2 rails a lot of times, but that one there, you gauge it right. And to hit it on the good side, you're taking a chance of not hitting it at all.
Yeah, you got to really.
To come across the top. So here, you got a lot of good things that can. Now I would have tried to have a little more speed on it.
Sure.
You want more center ball.
And the 8-hit rail.
Got a rail.
8-hit rail.
You want center ball on that one. That way you can really
stiff it.
Yeah, put a lot of stuff on it. And actually, you can aim lower too, and it gives you wider margin for error for not missing the kick.
Right. Compress that ball down a little
Mm-hmm.
bit.
Okay, so must be close to being able to make a. All right.
Elevated?
Yeah.
Maybe like a baby jump? No.
Spinning this ball, trying to go down by the 9 with the cue ball. Oh, he could shoot it straight in.
Shot.
All right.
Hits that ball clean. Pretty good.
Yeah.
3 in the side. You want to maybe play short side for the 4?
If it goes, I play short side, yeah, because I think it goes in the corner as well. And I can always duck real easily from there.
Right. Give yourself.
Yeah, I liked
Options.
it better than the breakout, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the breakout, to me, if the 6-7 wasn't there, you know, the
Right.
breakout's better, even though you probably still play short side. But with the 6-7 being there, man, that's dicey.
Yeah. One bad kiss away from not getting a shot.
Yeah,
And then,
or slowing yourself down a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
Really, for Abe, he really wants to come out of this even after being down, 4 to
Oh, yeah.
or 3 to 1, I think it was.
Okay, he got more of the breakout angle, it looks like to me. It looks very difficult to go past for short side. I think he's going right into, this is a little touchy. This is like where you're going to break it out, but if you really want to play it on the safe side, you probably don't break it out very much.
Oh, no, he didn't get through the ball.
Yeah,
Can he see it?
maybe. I think
Maybe.
so, actually.
Yeah,
If he can, he's in real trouble.
he looks a little upset. So that tells me it's not good. Or he's just displeased that he didn't get perfect. But, did he just come down again and slide, like how you said before, where he slid it and then it rolls? He didn't just hit like a pure rolling ball?
Maybe. It almost sounded like it kicked a little, though, like maybe a
Like
skid a little bit,
little
maybe.
click, maybe.
But that happens with the strokes. A lot of people
Sure.
think it's just elements that make that happen. I think that it's more of the delivery that makes more skids happen than anything.
Miscues and skids, we always kind of,
Yeah.
me and some friends always blame ourselves for those whenever those happen.
I
Like,
blame myself way more often than I don't.
Right,
You know?
yeah,
I'm really baffled whenever I don't think it's me.
right. Because then it's just like, well, that's
Odd.
odd. Yeah.
I might not say it so mildly, but
Right. I'd probably just jump in the 4 here.
really?
No.
Okay. If
I
I
don't-
can,
I
if
don't
I
wanna-
can draw
I don't
by,
wanna
I don't
discredit
know what I
myself.
would do, really, be
Yeah.
honest with you.
I think, honestly, if he can see it, I just hit it with a little low draw center and just let it go.
All right, he was
Like if
trying
he
to
had
get
enough to go to
oh,
the
well.
to go to the end rail and then hook back, going at the 7 or the 6 or missing them, all give you like opportunities, right?
Something, yeah.
Yeah, but
He
yeah,
did
he
all
was
right.
he was really thin. He got a good roll here with the 6, but
Yeah, and the 5 doesn't pass the 6 either, so
Right.
very hard to dig on the cue ball here. Very hard to play safe. He's going to have to float it in kind of and just hold on the left side probably. I
Look.
think that's okay.
I think he can cue. He's not super treetop because of where he's going to be shooting from, but the 6 is there.
Yeah, he's going to be over it quite a bit because he doesn't want to apply right English.
No.
So,
But I
This
wonder if
is-
he's on the line where he's got to come over the top of it, or if he's gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if he's gonna be 100% over the top. I guess we'll see when he addresses it.
yeah, I think he's just got to
Yeah.
float it. Take what he can from the left side of the table and make this ball and make a decision from there, right?
If the 9 wasn't there, he could 4 rail the 4.
Yeah, bang it around table and
But I think the 9's in that line. So yeah, it looks like he can peek around the 6 just a hair. So maybe
that helps.
Maybe just making it is easier. Or maybe you play cross table, almost play a little 2-way shot with this. No, that's sold out though. That's tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
See, there I might have hit it with if I was uneasy about making the ball,
Just more speed and play safe from there.
play a right, like a tip and a half of right, and come cross table. So where if I miss, I'm behind the 9, but if I make it, then I'm, maybe I'm playing safe where I'm banking the 5 up to the Brunswick and leaving him 1 rail behind the 6-7.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I
just make the ball and play from there, basically.
Yeah, and then if I miss it, then I'm missing it thin and leaving him behind the 9, and
This is a little touchy here with the 8 being there, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
this is
8's
a
going to be a
little
big ball.
touchy here.
he might catch it.
I might try
off
and
the
chop
third.
this with inside and catch the 7 and just shoot the 6 long. This is a funny little shot. I think he can overcut the 5 to the pocket with inside and go
Sure.
right into the face of the 7, like right there,
Mm-hmm.
If he runs at 3 rails and tries to beat the 8,
He
he could
might.
hit the 7 or the side pocket with the cue ball.
Right.
Like if he tries to go short of the 8, he could hit the 7.
Right.
If he tries to go long of the 8, he could hit the side pocket. This is a funny little shot here. Worst thing that could happen is catch the 7 and drift to the end rail with the cue ball,
man.
but
No.
that's the shot I like, though.
Yeah.
Kind of shot told you what to do a little bit more
Sure.
than.
And just give yourself a chance, right? You don't want to get weird now where you're thin on the. You got to do a cross table save and just pop it in and give yourself a shot on the 7.
Yeah, you kind of go forward and over at the same time a little bit. Not only so you can reach it, but when you broaden the angle a little, it gives you a little more room to cut the ball.
Yeah.
Still some work from the 8 to the 9, you can see. And the 8's froze, so there's a lot of funny positions you'll have to shoot the 8 from. Like anytime you want to come backwards, right, off of a froze ball,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of an illusion. You can really pull the ball off the rail easily if you don't understand the shot.
Right.
It's a lot thicker hit than people think. You don't
Right.
want to cut it away from the rail. You want to cut it down the rail.
Right.
So even, you want the angle you think, do you want straight? They're just all a little bit tricky.
Right.
And the ball's frozen, you're coming backwards.
And then if you get thin, now you got to.
Ooh, side
careful.
pocket.
Careful.
Side
I think
pocket.
he's fine.
Froze? That ain't no good either. This is
It's a
actually
Buddy Hall-
perfect.
Buddy Hall shot.
You ever seen him shoot it?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's
Oh man, it's
unbelievable.
I've been able to do it a few times too, just from watching him do it. The way he makes his bridge and what he does with the cue stick and
Sure.
stuff. Yeah.
Because it was what diamond, like first diamond to. Or
The one he used to shoot, we used to do middle diamond.
Got it.
But I'm sure he's done
and scratch and draw back and scratch.
and he could. Yeah, I just would draw back. Draw back to the end, to pass the side,
Yeah,
or whatever it is. Yeah.
make
yeah.
the ball.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, just make the ball.
Or 3 inches backwards.
Sure.
And make the ball is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. All right, well, Abrin, I think, has done a good job of neutralizing the early advantage and is even now after being down in the 9-ball. And that's a small victory you give yourself. You're like, all right, I was down, broke even on the 9-ball, race to 3 8-ball, right?
Yeah, and just on the opposite end of that, Bobby knows he had a lead there and obviously wanted 9-ball first and had a chance to possibly add to that lead.
Correct.
So psychologically, you got to give the edge to Abe going into the 8-ball and a little bit probably percentage-wise. But Bobby, just like anybody else that's, turns into a really, really good, great pool player, they're learning as he goes as well. So.
How was the international this year?
It was great. Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of incredible matches. Matches you could.
I bought the stream online. It was just awesome to see some of the guys playing, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it was an incredible tournament.
Okay, Abe with the first break in the 8-ball.
I was asking Abe about this break.
Yeah.
When you pull the ball over to the side like that, you rarely see the head ball break
Right.
anymore.
Right.
You usually see the second ball or
Bustamante used to do that, right? And then
Yeah.
you'd break them so hard, but he'd break them from the rail because you get that extra leverage.
or a little bit off of it, right?
little
But
bit off.
usually you'll see more of the 10-ball break for the 8-ball break these days.
Which
It's the same premise,
Right. Which I think like because you can start dialing in on that second ball,
Yeah, a lot of them
track
have
to
a
the
chance
side.
to go, really.
Sure.
There's like 4 or 5 different balls in the rack that really track towards the pocket. Some better than others,
Yeah.
but
And the problem, I think, too, if you hit that break bad, then you simulate that like almost side rail break, and they all kind of end up like you got a
On
bunch
one
of balls
side,
on one
yeah,
side.
yeah.
And that's never
which
any
maybe
fun.
could be protection. It's almost like, Shane didn't, what a lot of people think Shane came up with that break with the 10 ball with the second balls going in the side and all that. And that's been around for a long time. Yeah, I've seen it.
Sure.
25 years ago by Mark Jarvis actually,
Yeah.
Efren Reyes, Mark Gregory, a lot of guys.
He's local, Mark Jarvis. He lives nearby, I think.
Oh, so he moved down here from
I
up
think
north.
so,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, cool.
I saw him here earlier in the year, late last year, something like that.
Cool. And but what Shane did was he took it to another level and then perfected it and got it better. Whatever you want to call it, but.
Well, he just tortured Dennis with that thing. Did you see any of that?
I didn't it was here,
35 racks.
Yeah, I know, beat him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, really bad.
And he broke great. I think he could have played better. Like, I don't think he played his
best, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
just broke too well, huh?
That's terrifying.
Look at this. He didn't hit.
The guy could play better.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. Dennis also could have played better, but I think Shane is a little in his head after he's beaten him 2 or 3 times late in the U.S. Open, and a lot of times, sometimes you just have a guy that's going to beat you.
Who's the pressure on with the break the way it is? The pressure's on Dennis.
Absolutely, 100%. So. Especially because that's Shane's jam,
Yeah.
You play a race to 500. See what happens. He's going to run a 20 on you or something eventually.
Okay, he's got some work here, and he's got a funny one because he's got to if he leaves the 9 up table getting on the 8, he's got to really play some nice position to do so. And he looked like he was queuing up to draw back right now. I like that almost.
Cutting the 9 in.
Almost.
Chopping it in.
I'm trying to really look at the.
What's the alternative going forward? 2 rails, but then you might hit the 4 full.
Yeah, I just don't see playing position off the 11 to the 9 to get to the 8. I just don't see it really that great.
Yeah, it might just be that you just chop in the 9 with a high ball, and you might come 2 rails or 1 rail, and
I think I pound over. I think I don't mind spinning the 10 with inside from some distance. So I shoot the 12, pound over for the 9.
Right.
Even if I have to play off the 4. Ooh, wow. He didn't get to that rail.
He hit the thin part of the pocket too.
Yeah.
Shifted way over with the speed, and scratched right in the side. And the balls are pretty. I'm not sure if the 8 is clears the 11.
Well, with ball in hand on the 3, ball in hand you can shoot the 3 and come over and bump the 11 and have the 2 ball, no problem.
If it doesn't go.
Yeah.
Just black coffee.
But can I get some cream on the side and sweet low on the side?
So it looks like he's going to go the other way and play with the 2.
Well, you don't want to bump the 11-8 with the 2. I mean,
unless the 8 goes, right? And he's just.
If the 8 goes, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine for sure. But I'd probably still play the 3 first. I like shooting the 3 and then having the 2 to come up the side of the table more than coming off the 3. But I mean, they shouldn't matter.
I agree.
But I definitely don't want to bump off the 2 because if you hit it full, he's fine. But that's a long-term proposition again.
Right.
If you catch the 11 full, you're dead on the bottom of the balls.
Right.
He's okay now, though.
You kind of not like playing the 3 here?
Oh, I love playing the 3. It's not really doing anything for me, and all the other ones connect.
It can only bite you, right?
Yeah, I come 3 to the 1 to the 4 and come back down. I might pick off one of these ones on the side going there, but I think he thinks the 3's the key ball at the end, but it's really not. Yeah.
You got to be careful because getting a little bit wrong-sided on it keeps it there longer, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't take much for that ball to be a problem, so I think it was.
Okay, got a little thin here, so I don't know. Keep it real simple, I think. I might just roll. Yeah, maybe.
Bump the 6.
Maybe. As long as because you can shoot the 4. You're probably going to catch a piece of the 6, so you can shoot the 4 if you want. Whatever you want to do, really.
Yeah. Okay, he's pretty full.
Yeah, he can hold on the 1. No problem.
The only thing is here, you don't want to be straight on the 4.
No, and I think it's hard too. And that you have to work more when you're straight on the 4, but
right.
Just don't overthink it. That's what I saw a few times. He had gotten through the tough part of the rack and
he came back with a 6.
Okay,
yeah,
it's okay. It's what he saw, and that's what the difference between us in the booth and him on the table. He sees them little angles that are a little better.
I like that because you can't get in trouble getting thin on the 6. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like this is the last position shot you have to play versus making that one and then having to play the 4 for another. You have to play one more position shot as opposed to just being on the right side of the 4 already. So I kind of like this.
Whoa. Okay, he killed it. Well, he killed it. He put English.
He put a little inside.
Yeah.
Was that him showing off? Is he trying to send a message?
Well, he wanted to make sure he got off the rail, and he wanted to make sure he wasn't straight like you were talking about earlier. So I don't mind that sometimes. I'd rather be on the aggressive side of the swing than the deceleration side of the swing.
Yeah.
Okay, so going to grab this first game after an unexpected scratch for sure.
I hate that feeling when you're not even thinking about the scratch and then it peeks up and bites you and you're like, oh man, what was I, blind or something?
Well,
Schaad.
Abe said he has recently switched shafts, so that's one thing that could get you because it does put a little higher, higher spin rate maybe.
Well, with the Revo especially, because you get so much more power with less those ball shifts that you get, it takes time to dial that in.
Right.
Because I've seen almost too that if you draw the ball a lot with that shaft, it comes back straighter too. If you hit it just pure, it's unbelievable. It doesn't, some of those balls you think you're going to shift over with an old shaft, it might be a little bit more whippy.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes right through it. And now you're sucking back way straighter, and it can be a thing. So.
Okay, I don't think he got one down. Maybe he did.
Did he just make
did
noise?
He? Oh, he did. Okay.
6, 9, 12, 14. He did make one.
So that's
might be a solid.
Yeah, it looks like solids. He's made the one ball. No, the one's on the bottom. 1, 2.
He might have made the.
Yeah, he made a solid.
Yeah, 3 or the 4, I think. I think it's the 4. So yeah, solids it is, and I think he's over a solid right now. Might be the 3.
Yeah, and if the 2 goes, it's a very runnable rack.
I think the 2 does go, and I think he can play one rail for a thin shot on the 5, and then just come back and either have the 3 or the 7.
I wonder if he's not snookered on the 2 right here. He may be just too straight on the 2, especially if he doesn't have the entire pocket. Like he can't jam the 2 to the top part of the pocket because of the 13.
Right.
May have to. I don't know.
Well, if he's real close to the 3, he can throw it in.
Yeah, or even naturally cut it and kill it. Just depends on how much space he has, right?
But I don't think he's looking. I think he is definitely looking at the 2. I wonder how he's going to.
I don't think he's going to get to the 5. I think he's going to be satisfied with
the 7. Oh, look, he did. He stuffed it, but he didn't get there.
Trouble.
Right here in River City.
Yes, sir.
So I wonder.
Well, I mean, you got to try and bury the 7, I think.
Well, you could also just thin off the 5 there and 2 rail him right underneath that stripe.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to try and get risky here.
Yeah, that's just kind of depending on your opponent to give up something easy, and I just kind of believe Abe ain't going to do that in that spot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to maneuver a little bit, and he can draw over trying to get on the 3 and the 5 at the same time here.
Yeah, I definitely like shooting, shooting this ball to the bottom, right corner as we look. And
your opponent's got work. You might bobble the 7 up, make a lot more work.
Yeah. And you have a chance to still keep control.
Yeah, and I think if he buries it, he wins the game. Really, it's not for sure. He really needs to get on the 5 first. He needs to use the 3 to get on these balls down here.
Right.
So that's very important. He can't expect to get from the 5 to the 6 and the 1. So, in saying that, I don't know. I might come all the way down with the cue ball to the bottom rail here. Why not? That's playing shape off the 7. I'm talking about cut the 7 to the lower right.
Got it. Yeah.
And come all the way down and get on the 1, and then use the 6 to get back up on maybe the 5.
Even if you come at the 1, you could hit it full and still get a shot.
Yeah, that, and it makes it very tough on Abe, I think. And you got a good chance to bobble the 7 if you do miss,
Yeah, look, it looks like he's going forward, just like you said.
Yeah, I think that's better. He missed it.
bobbled it.
It's not going to bobble to where
No.
it covers the pocket, but look how difficult things are.
This is great.
you
That's a
know?
great shot.
So, and I think if he
and
made
the
it, he
7
still
is
had a chance to
available.
get out.
Absolutely.
Huh?
And the 7's still available.
Right.
That's a great insight there and a great shot selection. I think probably the right shot considering. And good speed. Remember we talked about
Yeah.
that one safety that, a couple racks ago you play the one rail bank and you lay up on the end cushion. The equity is getting the cue ball down on the bottom rail like this. And then, whatever happens goes from there.
What's he trying to do?
I
here?
don't know. This is a tough spot. Not much you can do. I mean, does the 11 go straight in the corner? Off that?
Maybe that might be the shot, be honest
You
with
know.
you. I mean, you got a chance to win the game with it if you bury it.
Yeah, I think
Got a
you might
chance
have
to
to
jumble some balls up.
You might have to play it off that 13 maybe for it
Yeah.
to go.
I'll just slow roll it towards that left side. I don't
Yeah.
play it fast, I don't think.
No.
When I say slow roll, a little bit of speed, but
Sure. I mean, get a rail,
yeah, for sure. Take a chance at making it. You might create still some problems. The out's tough anyways, right? I mean, even if he misses and leaves a pocket for the 5, the out's
Yeah.
still tough.
Yeah.
Oh, he hit it
Yeah,
great.
hit it great.
Hit
Point.
it too good.
Hit it. I mean,
He's like, how did I get in between the
Yeah.
13 and the point and
how'd
the
I
pocket?
put it there? Yeah, that's the word. I hate that. But now
it's-
again,
yeah.
now that 5 ball is tight, tied up. So do you go from the 3 here, attack the 5, and try and get at there? Try and go
almost
2
got
rails,
to, right?
Right?
I might
Maybe
just come straight across.
just 1 rail.
Yeah, and try and get myself,
Sure.
the 7's there to be able to get down to the 6-1 now.
100%.
So I think you take a chance now knowing if you get there,
Yeah, he's looking at where he wants to
you
be.
can win.
Yeah.
Before
But-
if you got there and you had to get all the way back down here, you
Do
can't.
you-
You probably can't do it.
Do you come back here and try and kind of keep yourself safe by also giving yourself a shot on the 7, but trying to hit this little,
No.
trying to hit this little window?
No,
You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so.
Or do you just come in, like one
I
rail
just come one
across,
rail and
somewhere in there?
it lays pretty good. I think if you don't get on the 5 right now, you can't run out anyways.
Yeah, I think
you
you
know
gotta
what I'm
go-
saying.
I
Like
think-
there's no run out if you don't get on the 5 on your second shot.
Yeah,
so
I think you got to go right between the 11 and the 14. there,
yeah,
just like
it
that.
was laying
I mean,
perfect,
He pured it too. Look at that,
and he can bridge a little bit.
left-handed.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do something kind of creative here as far as he's gonna have to cheat the pocket.
Lee Van Corteza.
And get
Behind the back.
yeah, right. And he's going to have to cheat the pocket and just take what he can to get the cue ball out there and get some type of cut on the 7. I don't think he
Yeah.
could gin it and go right in between and draw up maybe just
Sure.
kind of 2 feet from the 7.
I think
if
he can.
Yeah.
It's just, this is where you got to have had time practicing. And what helps him is that the ball's close, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
he doesn't have to hit like a super strong, pure draw
Got to
stroke.
watch out for the foul, if he moves that.
But I don't
that-
think, do they call?
Well, what if he moves that ball and then draws the cue ball back into it?
Then that would be a cue ball foul. I
Yeah,
think. Yeah,
that would be.
a foul.
That's the one. Because when you're playing lefty, you don't have quite as much control of the cue, so it could
Right.
easily slide off of his hand right here
Sure.
and into that stripe that the cue ball's near.
And I think he may have just a little room to
He's
cut
gotta
it
cheat it.
slightly to the right, right?
Got to cheat it, yeah.
Yeah. Good shot.
And this, it's
take
not
it.
great, but
I'll take
you got a chance, right?
Yeah, 100%. And he can also now just flat roll the 7 in.
Can't
He's got a
baby it though.
billiard-
He's got to get through the 12 a little bit.
He's got a billiard. Yeah, he's got a billiard. He's going to probably billiard the bottom part of the 12. If he can do that, he'll float a little bit forward and get a shot on the 6. But he's got to get full on the 6. It can't be super thin.
He might go off of it and get down on the 1.
That'd be even better.
Yeah, if he doesn't baby it and put a little on it, you could just dead flow it, trying to cover up the pocket. That could work for you if you miss, but most likely if you miss, you're going to lose the game.
Right.
Abe's going to knock your ball in with one of his and play you back up table safe on the 6 and 1 or
Because
something like that.
He's got that whole deal.
So, of course, you're not going to murder it, but go ahead and shoot it a little bit. Give it a good fighting chance to go in because I think the out's there. Be a big momentum here getting out.
Great
Hit
shot.
it great, and
Great
he got
shot.
the
He got
12
on the
didn't
1,
bother
get out
him.
of the way.
He's a
Mind
little
your-
thin on the 1, but he's okay.
Mind your business, 12.
What
Look
a
at
great
that.
shot there. So he's got to spin this with a little inside. He's got to make sure the 8 passes the 12 if he needs to play it like that. The 8 goes in the side, and, of course, in the same corner as soon as the 6 is removed. But what's he looking at here?
I think he's thinking about going one rail at the 8.
No, you got to just kill your ball with inside here. You got all the way to the middle diamond here, with, to put inside English.
He might be a little squirrely about it. Just want to.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that. I do understand not wanting to do something, but
yeah,
it's not that difficult. He's a foot away, so.
Right.
Yeah, he got it.
You got it. Could
have leaned on him though.
Could have leaned a little bit. Could have hit a piece of chalk, a little something, and then
the balls when they get near each other, the magnets turn on, so they just kind of glue and run with each other sometimes.
Man. But
well, it's a step away from being on the hill.
Big inning here, huh? So I think you just stop your ball really and play the 8 in the side. If you're starting to feel the pressure a little, or do you go ahead and just yank it?
Or if the 8's tight at all, if the 8's tight at all, also I stay away from that pocket. Could get elevated over the 9 a little bit. All that you shouldn't be doing, but
yeah, looks like he got pretty good.
Yeah, he's good. And I'll tell you, this run out here, kind of pretty prime example of how much talent has been in this room all week. There's a great out right here in a pressure situation.
That positional shot cross table.
And then the 7 also, right? The 7 jacked up.
All good pressure shots and good heady thinking. You know what I mean?
Gave himself a chance to get the game.
Sure. Really nice game of 8-ball. You've just got to stay composed, wait for your chance. If you get one, try and do what you can.
It's funny, 8-ball. Generally, if you are an 8-ball player and you hadn't played in a while, you usually get better and better. And even if you're not an 8-ball player, you usually get better and better as the tournament goes. But sometimes it can get you a little cross-eyed.
Right.
8-ball can, you're just for some reason not on the right wavelength.
Sure. Okay. I can't remember. Did he break from this side last time? Seems like, he hit him pretty good. It's a dry break.
Well, I think that was his second break. An 8-ball. Okay, so choices, but a lot of work. Solids, you kind of think solids a little bit just because, there's an issue with the 4, but you have balls near.
Right.
And there's not multiple problems. Where the 12 and the 11 is kind of a multiple problem. The 9 is a little bit of a multiple problem, along with those, whatever that 10, 14, and all that is up there as well. So.
Yeah, I think solids are good.
Yeah, he can really do a lot with the 4 up there, I think. I think those aren't going to be as tough as you might think with the 1 on the bottom rail and the 2 near the pocket there.
Yeah, I think he should probably, and if he can see the 6 from the 2, maybe play 2-6 and then use the 1 to break out the 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how the entire rack's going to go, though, as far as the 3 ball as well.
Yeah.
Does the 6 go also? That would I would love to go off the 7 right here and come around and have a choice on the 1 and the 6 in that upper right.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because you got to believe you're going to be able to get into that 10 somehow to open the 4 as well with these choices.
Yeah, this 4 rail position would be amazing.
I think so. With the 2 there choices, the 6 goes, right? The 6 goes.
I think it 100% goes. And then it also gives you a safety ball to get back on the 3. You don't have to do something weird with the 4.
And you don't have to go from the 3 to the 7 either. You know what I'm saying later on, which could be funny because if you don't play it with an angle, well, now you're shooting the 7 off the rail. And if you do play it with the angle, the 3's missable.
I think that was the right pattern and something that maybe Abe will look back on after the
match. I thought initially when he shot it, that's what he was doing, getting that exact angle he got to run the cue ball. There's a real clear, we were talking about this clear path right here back for the 6 and the 1. So.
that pattern was really big, big area of position to get into.
And the main thing was the 2 balls gives you choices.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
And you don't want to, in 8 ball, you don't want to tie yourself down to one thing until you have to,
If he can cut this 14 in that by the 6 and bump that 10, the run's there. I mean, he's got some work, of course.
Sure.
But, you know, Abe cleared the 5, which opened the 9. So one of those problems got taken care of, and I think he's absolutely perfect right here to go into the 10. Now, I'd like to send the 10 down here to help my 11-12 out.
Right.
You know, draw into it and go ahead and put it down on this end of the table and play shape on the 13.
Looks like he's going after it right now. Made it.
Okay. Doesn't want the 15 to go, but that's okay.
He's got a soldier that down there, the 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just got to get that position there. I don't think you got to go at it now. I mean, it's up to you on that. But I might get at the 10 first, but I don't know. I don't want to have to draw down here and have a perfect speed, right?
He's kind of have to kill a little bit, right, to stay on the 10.
Just top inside a little, right? Top right? No?
I kind of think he's got to draw it a little bit and play to over here with, for the 10 in the side.
Oh, I thought he'd just come one rail and have the 10 in the corner, and then if you stop on the 10 or pull it back a little, you can come across the table easily off the 9.
It might be full enough to do that, but I'm not sure if it is or not.
He's drawing down here for the 11, and that could be he could get in no man's land here.
Right. Yeah, looks like he drew it back.
Looks like he hit it great.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now the 12 is going to open up to the opposite pocket. I don't know. Did the 8 get him? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah, he's kind of like in between because he could have played here or he could have played there. You know what I mean? And given himself either the 3-rail shot or gone straight at the 11. I mean,
now things become difficult.
Now he's got to come 2 rails if he's going off the 10, right?
Yeah, and the 10's your ball to the 9 because you can fall in some bad areas over here on the rail even if you do have a shot on the 11.
Sure. And he might have to end up having to play a cross table where he might bump the 15 towards the rail and then have to go in between, in and out, weave in and out to get back to the 9 in the same pocket, and that becomes challenging. But
now, can he hit this with just a high right and run the ball 2 rails, or does he have to kind of punch by the 9?
I think he's got to punch by it just a hair.
If he's got to punch by the 9, that makes it a little more hairy, meaning the speed control and the line of the cue ball. Now, if you can always just hit it with a high right and just use the spin and the angle.
What about playing 2 rails?
And bumping it?
Just here.
And shoot it all the way up?
Shooting all the way up.
Yeah. If I had the side there, I definitely would do that, I think. He's going to catch the ball.
He's going to catch the ball. Oh,
and
he jarred himself.
That sucks. He's in trouble now. He's got a bank he can get below it, and he's got a big pocket up there with the 2 ball, though.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta avoid that ball at all costs.
Yeah, but that's because of the punch. He had to punch past the 9, so that's where he lost the line a little bit, and may have not had the best speed. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not sure how much the 11 really slowed the cue ball down. Not much, of course. But I think he's got the angle on the bank here. We'll try and get a look at it. Yeah, he's definitely got the angle on the bank to be able to bank it cross side and get below for the 12 up in the corner. I look at the 12. He's looking at the 12 in the upper left. I look for the 12 in the right by the 2 ball.
I agree.
Is where I look.
Yeah. But I think it's hard for him to get down there unless he's
No, the angle's perfect. Watch. I mean, it's just perfect. Cut the ball just a hair, and you
just got to stun it, right?
Yeah, and don't. The thing is, don't. I don't think you got to stun it, but don't be upset to shoot the 12 from froze.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Put a little right English. Just going to throw the bank. You're going to come down here,
right?
And you're going to go forward off the cue ball a little bit, anyways. Yeah, he's acting like he's got to move it, so he doesn't want to put English. Yeah. He wants to hit it with a center ball on the bank.
Right.
Too hard. He's going to need some love.
He got a little bit of it.
He got some love. He's got the side or the corner.
I still kind of like the corner, I think. But
I don't think so. I think it's the side.
I just think that cutting it to the side, it's going to be hard to still keep a shot.
Can't catch a piece of the 8? Can't go forward and catch a piece of the 8?
Maybe then just got to be careful.
Wiggle it a little bit?
Yeah, just got to nip it. You got to nip follow. And if he can just clip the left side of the 8, then that's perfect. Then he wins.
Yeah, it's basically one shot to win this match and get to the finals.
Yeah, just a big shot for him. Oh no, they should call. They should be calling you over there.
Yeah.
Oh no, look, what's he doing?
He's drawing it over for a little cut on the 12. He's drawing. That's okay. He can draw over thin for a cut,
Yeah.
like the little thin
I
cut
kind
on
of like
the
that
12.
a little better too. Yeah, because if you can,
Well, if
end
you
up
hit it
over-
well, you're guaranteeing what you're doing.
right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that way you know you just got to make the one shot, right?
Well, yeah. Now he's going with a high ball.
Oh, that's weird.
I think that was
Beautiful.
fine, though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
great shot.
That's like a straight pull.
Mhm.
You know,
I really think, we can see he's playing great, and he's a really, really good player. Maybe our 2019 U.S. Amateur if he can get these last two down and get to that final. But you can tell this man was a really good player at one time,
I think
right?
he's got the temperament. You know,
Yeah.
I think he really does.
He plays like he was around a lot of good players, at least,
Yeah, it's not his first time. you know,
Right.
Right. I think that might show up. It could be that in the finals he gets out talented, by Blake. But if he gets his hooks in, it's going to come down to good decision making, some experience, and I think he's got it. So great
Well,
shot.
there you go.
Yeah, great tournament from Abe, and
Yeah, great tournament for me.
good showing. It's hard. The 2011 I came here and Brian told me it's really hard to double dip. To go back to back.
Oh, well, that's any
So,
tournament.
yeah.
So,
So-
well, thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back shortly with our 2019 U.S. Amateur Open Final. It's going to be Blake Baker.
Yeah.
And you've seen Bobby right there. They'll be battling out. It's a race to 11. We'll have it here shortly.
It's
Stay
going to be
tuned.
a good match.